Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to NYSA Presents, where you see what you've been missing in 3D. Hello to all of you in our VR world, and welcome to New York, and welcome to our 60th show. I'm your host, Johnny Laser, and usually I'd be taking you on today's journey, but more on that in a moment. As you can see, the background's different. Jay Kuznets has us covered in VR. Dave Camo, Jim Harp, and David Heiser have us covered everywhere else. Happy holidays. Peace and joy to you and yours. Today, I'm coming to you from a new arena in New York called the UBS Arena. It's located on Long Island. And if you have any idea about the geography of this place, funny thing about Long Island, on one end, you have Brooklyn and Queens. On the other is Montauk Point, and kind of the beginning of the North Atlantic. It ends there, and up the coast you go. Well, that's your official geography lesson for today. Actually, I get up to Boston that way if you want cod. Anyway, today I'm working with a group called the TRANS-SIBERIAN Orchestra. If you haven't heard of them, just look them up on YouTube. It's a theatrical performance created by the late Paul O'Neill. It's great to see musicians out doing what they do, entertain people. You know, people want to get out again. It's a great show, and they have donated millions to charity. And by the way, it's a fantastic laser show as well as theatrical. Take that from your old friend Johnny Laser. I sent a few 3D images and a 2D video that they may show later if there's time. Again, I want to thank you for stopping by to see what you've been missing in 3D. Have a great holiday season to you and your family. You know, things will be getting better eventually. Just hold on. You know, share your kindness, count your blessings. And again, happy holidays. And it's a real pleasure to see you. I'm likely going to, again, I'm hijacking their Wi-Fi at this point. So we could lose it at any moment. I can disappear. So we kind of formulated things a little different. Right now, we're going to show you something quick. A little quick video, a little thank you we put together. And if you could fire away, DB. I'm hoping I'm getting back again because, you know, one of those, there we go. Let's see if I can do this one more time. You can hear me, but you can't see me. I told you, we like to take a challenge, right? Everything's going smooth. Let's see if we could muck it up. That was with an M, by the way. If it screwed up coming through your system, don't blame me. Anyway, today, Dr. T will demonstrate some new 3D products he has for sale. And by now, you're all familiar with the Looking Glass gadget. And today, if you're in VR, you'll actually be able to sample a virtual version. This is some great tricks these guys have been trying to pull. Dave Camo and this gentleman, Eric, which I don't know his last name, and I'm sorry for that. But, you know, I screw last names up all the time. So what's the big deal? Eric, thank you very much and thank you, Dave. If you don't have a VR setup, we've created an anaglyph video that at least gives you a basic idea of the experience. And as I said, Eric, whose last name, I'm very sorry for not knowing that. You know, next year we'll put you on the scroll, man. You're getting scrolled next year. And we'll spell it right. It took me, by the way, like 20 times to get all your names right. I was about at wit's end at that point. At least spell them right, because, you know, anyway, cutting back to the chase. Again, I want to thank you all. I will, again, I'm probably just going to lurk because I could lose connection in any moment, you know, because I'm basically, I commandeered a room, which is kind of a nice little room I got here. But nonetheless, I may they may actually need me to do my job. So anyway, if that does occur, I got to get out of here. So I'm going to hand this over now to the wonderful, brilliant, needs no introduction. As a matter of fact, I think so many people showed up because of him, not because of me. But I won't take that personally, Dr. T. I'm going to hand you over to Dr. T. Thank you. I'll be lurking.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, well, I've been invited here to say a few things about myself and my show my 3D cameras and some of the products that I sell. One thing I need to tell you about myself, I have been doing film stereophotography for longer than I have been doing digital, 21 years to be exact. So a lot of the things that I do are around film photography. For example, I repair, buy, sell stereo realist cameras. I have books about those cameras. I service viewers, books, LED bulbs for viewers, RBT mounts, a lot of ViewMaster reels. As a matter of fact, since the meeting started, eBay told me that I sold 3 ViewMaster sets. So you can visit my website or my eBay store. On my eBay store, I have about 2,000 items for sale. And you might see some glamour slides. I represent some photographers who take these pictures like Boris Starosta. So I do a lot of things related to film photography. My personal interest is 3D photography, which means even though I shoot some 3D video or VR, just a little bit, I'm primarily interested in 3D photography. I've always been, and most likely I will always be. So I take a lot of pictures, but I don't have a big presence in social media or the internet. So I do show my pictures in the Detroit Stereo Club, where I've been a member for 27 years, the Ohio Stereo Club. I was a founding member 24 years ago. And also at PSA exhibitions, I'm an active member of the Photographic Society of America, National Stereoscopic Association, and International Stereoscopic Union. Right now, I'm the editor of Stereoscopy, the journal of ISU. Now, within digital 3D photography, I have 3 interests that I've listed here in reverse chronological order. And for every of those interests, I've made a presentation at NSA. The first one is unusual perspective. This will be my presentation in next year's NSA convention. So look forward to that. This year at NSA, I presented a workshop on macro and close-up 3D photography. And last year, my workshop was on twin cameras for 3D. So these are my 3 main areas of interest. Let's look at the first one, unusual perspective. I have a variety of equipment poles where I raise my cameras high. Usually these are twin cameras that I fire remotely. And I go to things like air shows, crowded events where there are a lot of people. I raise my cameras up and I take a higher perspective. Or I put my cameras on the ground and I photograph from lower perspective. After 30 years of photographing at high level, you start looking for something unusual to spice your photography. Let me show you a few things I found useful. This is my Fuji camera. I still use it. And at the bottom, I have a very short compact tripod. This unfolds and I can put it on the ground and it has a certain degree of freedom. So I can tilt it up and I take my lower perspective shots using this. And I have the same exactly thing on my Panasonic 3D1 camera, the same little folding tripod. Now in this camera, I also have attached a mirror. This mirror allows me, if I raise the camera high, I tilt the mirror so I can view the screen. If I put the camera at the bottom, I also tilt it so I look down and I also see the screen. And finally, I can take with this camera, this is perfect for that, I can take selfies. By the way, notice I have a label in front of every camera with my name, phone number, and address. When I was in Germany, I drove my Panasonic 3D1 in a taxi, and whoever found it has no way to know who owns this camera. So since then, I lost an expensive camera, so now I always have stickers in all my equipment. Also, when this cover is closed, it protects the screen of the Panasonic 3D One. I have those mirrors for sale. You can go to my website or search on eBay for an item. And if you have questions or you cannot find it, you can send me an email. Now let's go to the next area, close-up and macro 3D photography. My primary interest there is the Panasonic 3D lens. This lens has a small spacing, 10 millimeters, but it's fixed focus. So in order to use it for close-ups, you need to modify it. So my specialty is in modifying the lens. I use spacers to extend the lens away from the camera body, and then it will focus slower. So I sell modified lenses, also a kit that allows you to modify the lens. And the latest thing is this attachment there that allows you to put close-up lenses. So what I've done, the way I use the lens now, I've modified the lens with 0.5 millimeter extension, and then the lens focuses at 12 inches, which is 0.3 meters from the lens. So this attachment has a pointer. If I extend the pointer, at the end of the pointer, I'm in focus without a close-up lens. If I put a close-up lens, and right now I have a close-up lens of +3. Well, you see, +3 tells me to collapse my pointer by two segments. Right now, in front of this pointer is the best focus when I use the +3 close-up lens. So I have those for sale, and then I like them a lot. Well, I wasn't going to show any pictures because this is about, equipment mainly, but I can come another time and show you some of the macro pictures I've taken with this lens, but I'm only going to show you one. This one here, you can use your anaglyph glasses. This is the kind of pictures that this lens will take. This is a wasp queen at the early stage of the nest development. It has deposit eggs. You can see them at the edge of the picture there. It feeds them, builds the nest, and when wasps start coming out, then the nest accelerates. There's a whole process that I've documented using this camera and lens. And I also couldn't resist showing you our favorite 3D guy, Brian May. I have to tell you how I took this one. This one looks better if you see that the distance projected, it looks kind of flat if you look close, but in large screen projection, the depth is just perfect. So Brian May was eating during the happy hour at 2015 NSA convention. I approached him with my weird looking camera and the flash, the monster flash with the two heads. And I said, can I take a picture? He said, yeah, sure. So I came 12 meters from his face, boom, I fired my twin flash, I blinded him. And I end up with this picture that looks like a studio shot, but he was right there eating in front of a room full of people. So with proper use of the flash, you can create really very good pictures, from portraits to flowers, a lot of subjects. So let me move to the last and most busy area of interest, that's using twin cameras. I have been using twin cameras right from the beginning to supplement my stereo cameras. So what I've been doing is I have found different bars to mount cameras side by side. I have here my hyper bar, which is quite long and really lightweight, and another variety of bars, including the third one you see. It has a rotating head, so you can rotate the cameras, you can overlap them, you can converge them. I also have vertical mounts for vertical orientation. I sell a kit. A kit consists of some plastic spacers and screws that you can attach to cameras bottom to bottom, which is something that I do quite often. And right now in Photo 3D, there's a debate of whether this makes sense or not. You're welcome to join. I have cables that connect cameras. I have zip bars. Zip bars hold the cameras. One is upside down, and they're very specific to the camera you use. So I have zip bars for the Samsung and the Sony RX100. And the last thing I've done is I've created a series of switch boxes, which is little boxes that you can attach your cables and they have a very nice quality switch that you can fire the camera from this box. The most complicated one is this one, that in addition to firing the two cameras together, you can attach a remote to fire them remotely, and then you can individually fire the right and left cameras. Now, why would you want to do that when you're on a plane and you take a hyper, instead of using one camera, if you already have your stereo set, you can use the left, fire the left to take the left picture, fire the right to take the right picture, and then you process this pair like you do all your other stereo pairs. And when I use my RX10, I view through the viewfinder. If I take a hyper, I can actually preview it looking in the camera. And I'm going to show you a few of my camera rigs to see how they look. About 2 years ago, I got interested in Sony twin cameras because one advantage is I synchronize very well by very simple connection of the Sony multiports. And my first camera is this really very heavy one. This is the Sony RX10. Now, Sony makes so many different cameras. You need a PhD degree in camera engineering to understand what's going on. So this is the RX10, and I've spaced it top to top, so I can actually view through the viewfinders and compose my my picture in 3D, which is fascinating to me. And the zoom in this, the long zoom is 600 millimeters. So I use that for nature photography, long distance close-ups, and maybe I can come another day and show you some of the pictures I take. So after this one, I got interested in the Sony RX0, which is the exact opposite, very small, tiny little GoPro cameras. Now these ones, the size is only 60 millimeters, so you can put them side by side and have a normal stereo base. You can also put them bottom to bottom. This here is attached with a simple screw. Now the spacing is 40 millimeters. You can take maybe better close-ups. Now, how do they connect? In the back, I have two cables, and then I can use like my tiny switch. I can connect them. And the thing I like about this switch box, you can hear, you hear that? So when you're at half stop, and then you press, it's a very clear stop. It's an electromechanical switch. So when you half press, it stops there and waits. It doesn't continuously go to the firing. When you're ready to fire the cameras, you fully press the switch and the cameras fire. After the RX10, I went to the RX100. And these cameras here, actually, they're overlapping. I know a lot of people don't like this overlapping, but you should try it and see if it works for you, because by overlapping these cameras, the spacing of the lens is 75 millimeters, the same as the Fuji. Now, these are sitting in this bar where I can separate them, and then I can release the button in the front and they can rotate. And then I line them for side by side, tighten them up and bring them, at any distance I want. So those panoramic heads are called. I can move them inside out, and I can rotate them, and all the controls lock. So I have a variety of bars. Here's another small one. You could use that with your RX0 or RX100. So this is the kind of thing that will extend. If you want to raise it high, you can fire the cameras. You raise it up and you fire the cameras from a higher perspective. My last camera I want to show you is this one here, another one in the Sony RX family. This is the RX1. Now this camera here, unlike the other three, has a full frame sensor. All the RX cameras have a fixed lens. I was introduced to these cameras by David Hazan, who uses the same ones, and I really fell in love with this one, but I use it mostly bottom to bottom. The cameras now are touching each other. The lenses are mostly touching. You see, there's no gap really, and the spacing of the lens is 66 millimeters. By shooting vertically, because I display my pictures in a horizontal display, normally I crop, so I lose some image area, but I love the fact that the spacing of the lens is near normal, The cameras have a full-size sensor and a very good quality Sony 35mm lens. You cannot change the lens, and this is maybe a serious issue with some people, but having a fixed focal length lens saves you the hassle of matching the zooms, and also lets you focus, on taking the picture and not just playing around with camera zooms. Anyway, this is the end of my presentation.
Oh, we have a few questions.
Yes.
One interesting question. Do you have a list of all the cameras you have compatible cables and switches for?
No, but maybe I should make one, huh?
That's a thought. I mean, because yeah, a lot of us are looking through
Well,
what can we get, and it's good to know.
here's the
That's
thing.
often a big challenge,
The different systems, and there are some systems I haven't tried. For example, I haven't tried Stereo Data Maker that a lot of people use. But the cameras I've twinned are the Samsung NX1000. All the Sonys that have multi-port, they can be twinned the same exactly way, the same cables, the same hardware. And then the Canon cameras, they have simple connection. So I'm familiar with these.
Now, those different Sony cameras you showed us, do they all have similar? Do they sync as well, or is there some that sync better than others?
I haven't done any extensive testing. My feeling is that they all have about the same synchronization, which average about 1,000 of a second. Sometimes they're a little bit off for some reason. Sometimes they do better. So there is some variation. But 1,000 of a second is pretty good for a general camera pair, I think.
Do you use flash with these twin rigs ever? And
oh, that's a very good question. Flash has always been a problem in twin digital cameras. The Samsung NX1000 was a big surprise to me because synchronized with flash. And another surprise is I discovered that the RX1, without doing anything, just to put a flash in one camera, synchronizes maybe 50% of the time. The others might be a slightly different in exposure. So if you're interested in doing studio work and photographing models, I think this is a good choice because it does synchronize with flash. The other ones I haven't tried really.
So David Starkman asks, how many rigs do you generally take with you when you go out to shoot?
That's a good question. Well, depends when you ask the question. Okay, you ask this question tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you that every day I go out, I take these cameras with me. Always, I go for a walk, I go to run, whatever. These cameras are following me everywhere I go. But I only have those for less than 2 months, and I kind of, fell in love with them. Now, sometimes I take something else, like these two. Anyway, when I went to Germany, I actually took the RX10, the huge ones. I took it with me to Europe. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, whatever I'm doing, whatever excites me at the time, I will take with me.
Have you ever tried using a cage for big cameras like the RX10? Have you ever considered that? That might
no, because here's the problem. Once you start, the cage, people use the cage when they use things vertically or maybe horizontally. If you put the cage, you're going to increase their spacing. My aim has always been to bring the lenses as close as possible because one of the problems with using twin cameras, you cannot really bring them close enough. So by adding a cage, maybe you get a better connection, more solid connection, but you sacrifice some of the spacing. So that's why I have connected this like this instead of trying to find a different way. 66 millimeters, that's spacing for my eyes. That makes me very happy.
Great. Let's see if any other questions in the.
Well, I have a question out here in the world. I'm still hanging in there. I haven't been disconnected yet. Hi, Dr. T.
Hi.
Most of these cameras also shoot video, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. People ask me, well, can you take video? I think video is a matter of starting the cameras at the same time. I mean, I've never taken a video with twin cameras because I have a number of Sony 3D video cameras that I use.
Do any of those cameras that you were showing have an SDI output? SDI?
I don't know. I don't know what that is actually.
Okay. It's just another way of syncing them up. I was just curious.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it'll be another little funny little port on the back that will say SDI. But
yeah, that does seem to be one of the features camera makers are holding out for the big bucks for ability to gen lock. They can do it, but you're not going to get it without shelling out 4 figures or whatever.
Great. Well, man, that was, again, since I haven't discussed, you see, it's hard to get rid of me, but go ahead. What were you going
I
to
was
say?
just saying, Max gives us a good suggestion. If you are shooting unsynced video, use the highest frame rate possible, which makes sense, because then you might go back and downscale the frame rate, but you have the best chance of having a good synchronization. Oh, hey, the new Raspberry HQ Pi modules can sync via SDI. That's Ben Martin tells us. So always new stuff coming. That's actually very exciting.
That's the thing. You never can relax and say, okay, I'm done. I'm done looking. I find like tomorrow there'll be something else you'll be looking at.
And Dr. T, we should certainly plug your eBay store. Is that the best place to go to look for your wares? I know you're always a great presence on eBay.
Yeah, when I
website
develop something, I usually list it on eBay. I don't have time to maintain my website. Eventually, I might put stuff there too. But if you see something on eBay, it's a good idea to contact me, because then I can offer you a 10% discount to buy it out of eBay. But you can see what I have. You can see a lot of pictures there.
And we do, in the email that we set out for the meetings, for the show, there is a link to Dr. T's website, so you know. Just check on our, all the way to, don't take it the wrong way. You're at the bottom, but don't take it the wrong way. But if you scroll down to the bottom, you can get to his site, just so you know.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Dr. T, for your continual enthusiasm and invaluable knowledge that you bring to your community, to our community. So a big round of applause to you.
Thank you, guys.
I forgot I was not on camera. There I am. Cool. So we will go to.
You look so much better off camera. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, we can discuss more with Dr. T in the after party after this next segment. So I'm really excited to introduce this next presentation. As you know, we've been presenting our show simultaneously into AltSpace, and we have a number of enthusiastic folks who stop by in VR. So right now we've got our VR world. There's a message up there. I'm going to spotlight that for everybody. Okay, so he's just about queuing something up and people are kind of milling around in there. So I will turn the spotlight off and go back to what I was saying. So in VR, 3D is just a part of reality. There's no additional glasses needed. And if the people are there in AltSpace right now, they see a number of devices over near the basketball court. They should feel free to check them out. Essentially, one of our friends there has done something really amazing, and we've done an interview with him. And it's our first stereoscopic interview in virtual reality. It's going to be played in partial anaglyph here and in full color in AltSpace. Let's go to the video. Stereoscopic enthusiasts the world over have been playing with a new digital display called the Looking Glass Portrait. One feature of this 7.9-inch display that shines for 3D lovers is the ability to easily display lenticular images in their own home. For the novice, there's no need to learn the physical printing and alignment skills necessary with a traditional lenticular image. For the more advanced, it can provide a free and easy way to preview an image before printing or before sending the images out for printing. The unit currently sells for $399 USD. Here I am holding a physical Looking Glass portrait. Notice you can see behind the objects. This is because we've captured a series of images, what Looking Glass calls a light field photo set. We can capture this data in several ways, using a camera on a rail, as shown, or we can use a mobile phone on burst photo mode, or capture video and extract the individual photos. Or we can extract images from 3D modeling software like Blender or game development software like Unity. Whatever method we use, once we have this series of images, we can drag them over to the Looking Glass app, which will display them on the device in its own magical way. If we want to share the images with someone else, we can make one big image out of the small images in a certain order that the Looking Glass will understand. This grid is called a quilt in Looking Glass parlance. When we view the Looking Glass, we are seeing a different image with each eye, and as we move, a new image blends in and replaces the old image. But what if we don't have a physical Looking Glass? Why, we simply make one in virtual reality. At least that's what one of our enterprising viewers did. Eric, known on the virtual platform AltSpace as Grugir, is a freelance Unity developer based in a small village in the southeast of France. He has published some smartphone games and helped produce a 360-degree music video, among many other things. His lifelong interest and curiosity about stereoscopy led him to virtual reality in 2014 when he purchased an Oculus development kit. For the past year, AltSpace has become his favorite place and has allowed him to showcase his stereoscopic Unity experiments. In AltSpace, he has been able to socialize, improve his English, and meet people from all around the world. We are glad Eric started coming to our weekly show in AltSpace so we could chat with him about what he's done. Now let's head to the virtual realm in AltSpace. Hi, Eric. Thanks so much for joining us today. Is that the correct pronunciation? Grugir?
Grugir.
Grugir.
Well, that's...
You'd think since I had a French name, I'd be better. Anyway, without further ado, let's see the display. Excellent. I can see that your looking glass portrait looks and acts just like the one on my desk. It actually gives the appearance that there are solid objects inside, or at least objects that have some real volume. Truly amazing stuff. And for our viewers out there, if you're watching this video in AltSpace, chances are there is a virtual display nearby you can try out yourself. So, Eric, is it true that you took virtual reality literally and built this virtual device without having laid eyes on it in the real world?
In fact, I ordered one like 7 months ago, and I'm still waiting for it. And I really wanted to try it, and I just love stereoscopy and VR, so that was a good use case for doing some work.
What if you receive the device and it is completely different than what you imagined?
Yeah, it's quite intriguing. I have no idea what it... I'll see, I guess. And I may have to correct this one.
People are quite curious to know how it works. You said earlier you made the model for the portrait's case inside of Blender? I did it. I've done it in Blender. It's a really simple model, really. And how long did it take to bake that model?
I don't know really, but not so long at all. I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. No idea.
So now that you have the shell for the case, you need to get the looking glass quilts into it. And you do that inside Unity using a shader?
Yes, so you populate the texture slot with the quilt, and you give it a number of rows and columns, and it will take care of giving the right image given the angle to the left and the right eye.
Very nice. So the looking glass aside, this shader could be used for anyone who wants to bring lenticular images into virtual reality. So what is your next project?
Oh my God. I do quite a bunch of stereo experiments. I would call that like digital stereoscopic, maybe, experiments in VR. I'm not sure really. Some people are showing interest. And I don't know really. It has been just work for my own, work for fun and for my own interest. But yeah, I may share some more with people like AltSpace.
I certainly can speak for other AltSpace stereoscopic people when I say your work is greatly appreciated. Have you considered setting up a Patreon so people can help support you and keep these great experiments going?
So yeah, I will try to make a Patreon to have it available soon. And I'm also working on a gallery when I will put most of my stereoscopic work.
That sounds great. We'd love to come back and film the gallery with you. Jay and I saw a sneak peek of it a little earlier, and there are some really marvelous experiments inside.
Okay, so it's not quite ready, but soon, I guess. Yeah.
Really great. We'd love to chat with you again.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to. Yeah.
Let's go to the right.
All right, fantastic. Let's give a round of applause for our people out there in AltSpace and give some emoji con things out there, people.
And we do have one of those virtual portrait looking glass portraits in the NYSA world. I know it's in the event, but for anyone who's watching this after the event, if you go to the AltSpace NYSA world, I believe we have one right there that you're welcome to come and have a look at.
That is a good point, and we have a link to that on the web. Go ahead, John.
At the end, the girl that showed up. The avatar.
She was there the whole time, patiently waiting as we tried to film. We had like a little audience, and the thing no one probably really there's a hidden secret in that, which is that wasn't actually me in there. That was Jay dressed up as me, because I had the camera and I couldn't get on. So yeah.
Oh, excellent. So that was actually that was an audience there for that.
I don't think that's legal.
That was great. Oh my God, that was brilliant. Anyway, I'll get small again.
It was weird. Well, I think we're probably going to our close, and then we're gonna have our after party afterwards. So if you want to say your goodbyes again.
Say my goodbyes. Yeah, the connection held up. That was always a possibility that it would not. Too bad for you guys. It held up. Anyway, yes. Thanks again for showing up for all these times. Now, like I said, it might even be due to the VR and the and DR.T. But boy, you got a lot of people out there. Thanks for showing up again. Share your kindness. Count your blessings. Great stuff going on. We'll see you in February. We're taking a break, but we're planning on all kinds. You know us. We come back with cool stuff. And again, I'll probably be lurking back here, but because the show began at 3, but 2 minutes ago a guy came in, but he wasn't looking for me. See you guys later. You could roll it there,